Good morning, Amy. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my lighting right now. Oh, well, there you go. But I'm also trying to go live on TikTok. I got to do both at once. How are you this morning? And do we have any audio issues? Can you go live right now? I'm going to do a presentation about light, which is going to be fun. So, well, I think it will. Someone in my class, my English class, I got really excited with their post that they did. And I was like, oh my gosh, have you heard about this and this and this and this? So he wrote me an email, my school email, and oh, what time? I wrote my let's see. I need my glasses. Jeezy patoozies. No wonder I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm looking at. Jeezy patoozies. Patoozies. After 7. Okay. I'm super excited. Okay. How are you this morning? I really need a new phone. Now it's the question of where am I putting the camera at? I gotta clean it. They're sending out my guest request. You know what's funny, Amy? The girl's got to pee. Could have guessed that. Pretty view while you're on hold, right? Good morning, Jana. Good morning. We're just hanging out. Today we're going to be talking about kidney health because I keep having such wonderful discussions with people about kidneys. So I say you should limit your protein if you're in chronic kidney failure, chronic kidney issues. You should limit your protein, increase your fiber. It's going to give a chance for the kidneys to rest because when protein is digested, it produces a protein waste byproduct, and the kidneys are responsible for filtering that out. And I think that's very interesting. Someone said, no, you should increase your protein, and that will help send your body into, ketosis, which will burn everything. The thing is the kidneys can only filter so much. They have little nodules that are all around your kidney lining, and they can only filter so much. And like if you have kidney failure, if you go to get a prescription of any kind, whether it be antibiotics, allergy medication, whatever it is, your kidneys filter that out, are responsible for filtering the stuff out. So they can't give you a normal dose because what will happen is it'll just pile up in your body and leave as toxins. So you could eat a bunch of protein, put your body into a state of burning. He has polyps all over his kidneys that are leading to scar tissue. And as you know, scar tissue cannot be healed. Those filtration nodules are gone. If you have scar tissue there, they are no longer able to function ever again. You can't bring them back or anything. So my thought process is if you do put it into a burn mode and you are burning all this extra stuff, but how are your kidneys filtering the protein waste out? They're not. So that is essentially piling up somewhere in the body. And long term, that's bad. But if you can get your metabolic dysfunction and your insulin resistance gone, the rest of your body will be in optimal working order. You will overload the kidneys, but as long as you don't do it long term and you then lay off of the protein for a while, let the kidneys fully heal. Now that the rest of your body's functioning how it should be, let the rest of your kidneys heal by upping your fiber, decreasing your protein. That's going to give the organ everything it needs to thrive. And I'm making a video about it later because it is an interesting discussion, and food is something that should be discussed. It is something that the science has been bought and paid for so long. Like in the 90s, they tried to convince, and they did successfully convince a lot of people that breakfast cereal was better than an egg. I fell for it too. But I was a kid and I ate my ding dang Cheerios and my Fruit Loops and my Fruity Pebbles and my Cocoa Pebbles. Um, but yeah, now if you know what you know, you can't do that. That's like neurotoxin central. Um, what it does to the brain long term is really scary. You think Alzheimer's, but on steroids. I'm having issues with my other stand, so just one second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm using this stand and I'm attempting, this is still too tall. What did I do? Good morning, everybody joining. We are today speaking about kidneys, food, health, you name it. If you have a health problem, I'd love to hear about it. I think that we all need to talk about our health, and I don't think we should have to pay large sums of money to get our health fixed. I think we could fix our own health with just a little bit of knowledge. So today I thought we'd talk about the kidneys one because we were discussing them. Does anyone have actually an organ they're concerned about that they'd like to talk about, or any food questions or dietary questions or anything? Does anyone have any, before I just dive off into talking, because that would not be cool. We have morning coffee. So I just got done discussing on YouTube, and I'm going to catch y'all up, that we are discussing the kidneys. One, does everyone know what the kidneys? They are a high pressure filtration system. So the kidneys cannot work without the heart. If you have congestive heart failure or any kind of heart problems, you have to understand your kidneys, it will take a toll on your kidneys. Everything works together in one happy-go-lucky bunch. So if you have kidney failure, and I highly suggest that you do this. Bye. I highly suggest that you do this. So the kidneys being a high pressure filtration system, if they're not able to function, you're going to have problems. So how do we help our kidneys that are failing? I'm talking about chronic kidney disease, kidney failure, chronic kidney disease. This is something that everyone needs to take a moment and just think about. The kidneys are filter. So if the filter no longer works, what is happening to the stuff that is going into our body? Well, your body's just piling it up as toxins. So like say you have kidney failure and you take antibiotics and you take a regular dose that say I would take. What it's going to do is it's just going to pile up in pockets in your body, and it's going to become toxic, and it's going to become toxins that your body can no longer deal with. So it just sets them off to the side. We're going to leave those there. So you're basically poisoning yourself when you're in kidney failure. So how do we stop that, and how do we heal the kidney failure? So we stop it by, no one's gonna like this. You have to limit your protein and increase your fiber. You have to give it the conditions, because when protein's digested, it emits a waste product. And this waste product, protein waste byproduct, your kidneys are responsible for filtering this product out. Now, if your kidneys are failing, you don't want to work them overly hard. So you want to decrease your protein until you can get your kidneys functioning properly. And then after you get your GFR numbers up, your creatinine, your bun, everything's going in a really good direction, you then need to, up the fiber. We don't have any fiber in our food. Our food's spoiled because of the fiber. So I don't know if y'all have known the bread that you can just leave out on the countertop forever. And it doesn't go bad. It's good bread and it never goes bad. it used to have fiber in it, now it doesn't, and now it's filled with so many chemicals, and it's just really scary what they've done to our food. And imagine what that's doing to your body. I mean, it's not good stuff. But failing kidneys, decrease your protein, increase your fiber until you can get your kidneys healed. And I guarantee you, if you have kidney problems, I would then switch over to put your body into a state of ketosis, and I would burn any metabolic dysfunction you had in your body, and then I would reevaluate what exactly your body needs to run at optimal. Some people need high fat, some people need low fat, some people need more protein than others. Some people, it depends on your lifestyle what you need, and it depends on what your body for fuel. I can sometimes burn fat for fuel, sometimes burn sugar for fuel. Your brain loves sugar. Loves sugar. Your brain really likes the sugar. I'm going to go get my computer. We are going to be watching a presentation about light and the effects of light and what it does to certain plants and what it does to you when you ingest it. So I kind of like the white background behind me. It kind of brings out my polka dots. I like my polka dot dress. We are chilling. No, I'm just being a goofball. I'm gonna go get my computer. I'm just chilling. I sometimes do really good on lives, and then other days I do not do good on lives. But lately it's all about just talking to people. I want to know where people's education lack is. Like, what do people know about the human body? What do they understand about the human body? And what do they know about food and the process of everything? Like the way it's grown, the chemicals that are used on it, what the chemicals do to your body. You know, I just need to know what people know, and then I can educate people past that, because it's important that we are able to discuss and talk about food in a way that we should be. Y'all want to know what real food is? Real food is something that protects the gut and feed the liver. That is how you define real food. Protect the liver, feed the gut. If food does one but not the other, is bad, but it's not terrible. But if it doesn't do either, run away. Like Cheetos do not protect the liver and do not feed the gut. So Cheetos are one of the worst things you could eat. Like, it's not even food at all. That's not food. Your body does not see that as food. Your body will not register that as food, nor is it helping you. You're actually poisoning yourself. And I'm gonna be frank, you're paying too much money to poison yourself. That ding dang bag of Cheetos is almost $6 here. Like, no thank you. I don't understand how people can afford to eat that crap. To be 100% honest, a bag of organic, even if you wanted, a bag of organic potatoes is $5. One potato gets you a whole bag of chips. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I guess it's the time you spend, right? It's the time, huh? Let me go get my computer. I get excited, and then I start going on a rambling again. Let me go get my computer. My nose is killing me this morning. I went outside, watered my plants, and ever since I went outside and back inside, my nose has been bothering me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna blow it. Hey, 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 hey. Daughter says I really missed an opportunity to be a voice actor. I don't know. The computer did not recognize me. This air is terrible. Terrible. So, we are going to listen to this documentary. How is everybody this morning? Before we start. Well, I don't know if y'all would want to see the picture or not, but I can certainly watch it on the screen.
Everything I'm about to tell you is in these books. If you're going to take one picture, take a picture of all these books. There's more, but this is where a mitochondriac starts, okay? And you heard when Ruben started the movie about Unbound, he showed that picture and told you what Unbound means. Innovation is about taking things that are known and connecting them in ways that nobody's ever thought about before. My entire talk, I'm going to tell you right now in about 15 or 20 seconds exactly what I'm going to tell you. All you need to know is that slide right there. Okay? I could technically end the talk with this. What does that equation mean to everybody? And you just answer it yourself, but I'm going to tell you what it means to me today. Energy and mass are exactly the same thing. The only thing that's different is the environment that each side of the equation is in. Okay? So what does this mean? This means that when you slow light down, you create things of mass. That means everything in this room, this farm, this planet, at one time used to be light. And that is very counterintuitive to some people. They don't believe that's true. That was Einstein's innovation. And the problem is in medicine, biology, research, science, PhD, nutrition people, they don't get it. And last year, I came here and told you that's what the basis of the food web is. It's light through photosynthesis. So if you don't know about light, you don't know about food. And that's a really controversial thing to say to people who are big into food. I don't care. I really don't, because it's true. Now I'm going to show you how we work, the other side of the equation. The key innovation occurred 650 million years ago in photosynthesis. That's when we stole a bacteria and turned it into a chloroplast and we made food. What did the plants do? They made oxygen as a byproduct, and they also put DHA in the seas, okay? We know that life started in the seas. What happened 600 million years ago is important to everybody in the room. That's where all complex life came from, through the Cambrian explosion. But what was the key innovation? It's right there on the bottom. A mitochondria brought the C inside the cell. And why is that important? Because we had to bring water inside to make life work. So if you want a key slide, take a picture of this one. Because last year's talk focused on that, and this year's talk focuses right on this. And basically what you have is a coupled system. And what people don't realize, that system is reversed here. And here's the key thing that you need to understand. Ruben talked a little bit about DC elect.
This is really interesting. To say you don't know food without knowing light. He brings a really good perspective of, he's right. He's right. Energy and mass are, light. I gotta re-listen to that part. Because that's not what you learn. In math, you learn that, Can you hear when I get a notification on my phone? I need to get a paper. I have a notebook, but it's for English. I will be right back because I can't watch this whole thing. You can? Oh. I wonder if I could put it on Do Not Disturb and then go live. And if that would help. Because that's ridiculous. I wonder if you... Well, I know you couldn't put it on. Hold on. I'm going to grab a notebook because that is really important what he said. At least you go to the bathroom, Grandma. Oh, shit. Hopefully nobody's up my live. I guess it's not good, and it is good. I need a... and I don't have a binder. I need one for school because I keep printing all my stuff out, and then I have nowhere to put it. So I'm just going to back this up about what it talks about. See, I keep using my computer more and more. So I've looked into a pretty cool phone that one of my followers tells me is a really good phone. And I found it used for about $400 for a really, really good one. I can't get it yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do is get a nice phone and then get a new computer. And then, but, you know, refurbished is the way to go. Refurbished.
Tell you.
Hold on, let me write the name of his talk down. And then I'm doing research. I'm doing research on light because of the sun damage. Now, I have to do research on the skin because the skin should be filtering all this out. The skin is your largest organ, meaning I have organ dysfunction because of this. It is what it is. It's organ dysfunction. So I got to figure out what's dysfunctioning exactly so that I can fix it, give it the right conditions to heal. I don't want to do, you know, my grandmother never wore sunblock, never wore sunblock. She has the best skin for her. Being 95, she didn't even really get wrinkles until she was like in her 80s. And then her skin is got zero sun damage, but it's got damage on her ears. And she always puts sunblock on her ears. And she got skin cancer on her ears. Tell me the two aren't related. Tell me they're not. Well, let's do this. Let's do. So Jana's trying to go live too, Amy, and I don't think she can figure out. No, she's got to figure out how to do a live, to do a video. There she goes. Okay.
It's in these books. If you're going to take one picture, take a picture of all these books. There's more, but this is where a mitochondriac starts, okay? And you heard when Ruben started the movie about Unbound, he showed that picture and told you what Unbound means. Innovation is about taking things that are known and connecting them in ways that nobody's ever thought about before. My entire talk, I'm going to tell you right now in about 15 or 20 seconds exactly what I'm going to tell you. All you need to know is that slide right there. Okay? I could...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hold on. And I'm going to check into that.
Technically end the talk with this.
Me.
What does that equation mean to everybody? And you just answer it yourself, but I'm going to tell you what it means to me today. Energy and mass are exactly the same thing. The only thing that's different is the environment that each side of the equation is in. Okay?
Right. Oh. The papers. It's so hard to do everything upside down.
Innovation is about taking things that are known and connecting them in ways that nobody's ever thought about before. My entire talk, I'm going to tell you right now in about 15 or 20 seconds exactly what I'm going to tell you. All you need to know is that slide right there. Okay? I could technically end the talk with this. What does that equation mean to everybody? And you just answer it yourself, but I'm going to tell you what it means to me today. Energy and mass are exactly the same thing. The only thing that's different is the environment that each side of the equation is in. Okay?
Environment that each side of the equation is in. That makes sense, right? So he'll explain why he says energy and mass are the exact same thing. The only difference is the environment that each side of the equation is in. This is really interesting.
Okay? So what does this mean? This means that when you slow light down, you create things of mass. That means everything in this room, this farm, this plant.
When you slow things down, you create energies of mass. Oh wait, hold on, I gotta re-listen to that. Oh, when you slow things down, you create energies of mass. So if energy and mass are the exact same thing, the thing is that if you slow light down, you create masses of energy. Maybe it's like, that's interesting. Okay, we'll continue watching.
Planet at one time used to be light. And that is very counterintuitive to some people. They don't believe that's true. That was Einstein's innovation. And the problem is in medicine, biology, research, science, PhD, nutrition people, they don't get it. And last year, I came here and told you that's what the basis of the food web is. It's light through photosynthesis. So if you don't know about light, you don't know about food. And that's a really controversial thing to say to people who are big into food. I don't care. I really don't, because it's true. Now I'm going to show you how we work, the other side of the equation. The key innovation occurred 650 million years ago in photosynthesis. That's when we stole a bacteria and turned it into a chloroplast and we made food. What did the plants do? They made oxygen as a byproduct, and they also put DHA in the seas, okay? We know that life started in the seas. What happened 600 million years ago is important to everybody in the room. That's where all complex life came from through the Cambrian explosion. But what was the key innovation? It's right there in the bottom. A mitochondria brought the C inside the cell. And why is that important? Because we had to bring water inside to make life work. So if you want a key slide,
one second, guys. I gotta get my this bunny, and then allergies are kicking my tush. I think I'm gonna do a anxiety. Ooh. Wait, where's my phone not auto adjusting? Hello. There we go. Do you mean money? That's always a fun surprise. Tell me you put money. That was you. You did this. And I didn't just do this because that would be incredibly weird if I put money in the bunny. I only put my worries in the bunny. Maybe it'd have to be. Thank you. This is going towards my phone fund. And our gas fund. Both are pretty, you know. Or the car repair fund would be. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For now, it is bookmark until I get up. So that misplace it. Okay.
Take a picture of this one, because last year's talk focused on
I
that.
can't see these
And
slides
this
very
year's
well
talk
at all.
focuses right on this. And basically what you have is a coupled system. And what people don't realize, that system is reversed here. And here's the key thing that you need to understand. Ruben talked a little bit about DC electricity. What people don't realize is when a caterpillar eats a leaf at shell-borne forms, it stimulates a DC current of injury that Becker talks about in his book. The researcher that did that was Alan Burr at Yale University, 1929.
Oh my gosh, that so makes sense. So we are electrical beings. We actually, when we touch the soil, we off put an electrical current into the ground, and we can receive it. Kind of literally grounds us like a ground wire would do in electricity. So it makes perfect sense that if when we get hurt, we produce an electrical current that runs through. We are electrical beings. I worked in the healthcare field, in the nursing home for years. And that's one thing I will say is when you watch somebody pass away, you can literally see their light, their soul, their energy, whatever you want to call it. But it's pure electricity, like leave. You know, it's really cool, not to watch people die or see that, but to know that you are more than, I mean, you're actually, it just like you can tell, I call it the soul is leaving the body, and you can see that when someone passes their eyes, that energy just dies. But that means we are energy, and science has proved energy cannot be created nor destroyed, which kind of proves that there's an afterlife, if you ask me. But we're just doing the simple knowledge thing, not a ton of, you know. Your friend probably does. I'll stick it up. No, your friend definitely does and is very appreciative of it. Very appreciative. 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 Okay, I find stuff like this intellectually, and I can't even say appreciated without saying it 10 times. This is like the smart, silly person over here who's doing the mitochondria, brought water inside the cell. Your mitochondria is the energy of the cell. I have a friend that can't turn her mitochondria into energy. So the only way she gets energy is by taking these legal speed pills. Other than that, she'd be sleeping all day. She has no ability. She's losing muscle mass progressively fast. She literally, her mitochondria cannot be turned to energy. So they just die off. And that pollutes her body and causes more organ problems. Is really scary. That is incredibly scary. Incredibly scary. I told her she She needs to put her body into a state of autophagy, get some proper sleep, and start burning anything and everything off. Anything and everything off. Sorry, I get excited. But yeah. Unfortunately, I do. That's why I was doing all this stuff. Educating myself and doing this. This holds me responsible for my education. So there's going to school. There's doing all the stuff I have to do at home. My point is I got so much going on that it's very easy to forget about me. However, if I go down, if I get ill and I can't take care of the ship, the entire ship goes down. Versus me taking a little bit of time off right now to do stuff I want to do. And then, because I enjoy teaching people and I enjoy open discussions about, you know, that video I made yesterday, Amy, with the, that I subtitled and stuff about the kidneys. I'm redoing it. I want it to be a more open discussion about what I think. He told me exactly what his medical diagnosis was, and he gets like these polyps, I told you, on his kidneys, and they cause scar tissue. And he just increased his protein. So he basically fixed his entire body, but he's screwing his kidneys over. Because if you literally can't filter what you're putting into it, it will pile up as toxins. It's common basic knowledge. However, I don't want to be like, you know, you're absolutely wrong. You're half right and half wrong. You have most of the puzzle, but you're going to end up with oxalates throughout your entire body and nitrates that your kidneys can't filter out, and a protein waste your kidneys aren't filtering out, and you're killing yourself. You're fixing your metabolic dysfunction in every other area, but you're killing your kidneys. Like you gotta let them breathe. Let them breathe. I think you should do a 3-day fast, reset his immune system, reset his gut microbiome, let his kidneys heal, and then progress forward. Did you know that your gut bacteria has to be fed? If you do not feed your gut bacteria the fiber that it needs, it will literally eat out of your intestines. It will start eating you. And it's almost like a pet. If you don't eat your pet, if you don't feed your pet will find food to eat. It's a natural instinct. That's what your gut bacteria does, is it finds the food to eat, and the food happens to be you. So you have to feed your gut bacteria. So did you know when you're on like the carnivore diet, technically there's no food for your gut microbiome unless your digestive system doesn't digest the meat. The meat can then go through a permeated fermentation process, and it'll finally get down to the large intestines and colon and ferment. But that means your system isn't digesting the food you put into it, because the meat, by the time it reaches the large intestines and colon, should be fully digested. It's mind-boggling. You know, long-term effects of the carnivore diet have not been studied yet. I don't think it's bad. I just think we need to, whether it's vegan or keto, as long as it's real food, who the heck cares what you're eating? As long as it feeds the gut and protects the liver, who cares? If you want to eat all meat, by gosh, you can. I think that's the way God made the land. Some people can't cultivate the land because winters are so harsh, but they can hunt buffalo and bison and deer and swim in the creek, fish out of do ice fishing, where you drill a hole, each fish. So I think that's pretty cool. I think God made it to where you could only eat just meat. And then there's some areas where there's no wildlife, but it's moist and thick, so plants grow really well. So then you have this unlimited supply of plants. I think just as long as you're eating real ding dang food, that's what God intended. That's what God wants. That's what he says, like, treat the body like a temple. I think that's what he means. I really do. It's just eat the real food. And I think he designed Earth to be exactly what we need. So this whole theory on light, I was like, my gosh, this might actually tie some biblical stuff into some science stuff. And I don't think people are I don't think people are understanding how cool this is. Like, you know? I have no one on TikTok, but that's okay. Some days hits, some days miss. Sometimes you do good, sometimes you don't. Sometimes people want to hear your message. Some people aren't ready to hear my message, and I nerd out far too often for a lot of people to want to chill, relax with me. I'm like, oh yeah, it's having to have small talk. Oh yeah, you know the food system. That's my small talk. So let's talk about how light is going to save you. Or
You
listen.
should know that. Guess what? When I cut people in surgery, every time I cut them, what stimulates the healing repair? It generates a DC electric current, and it tends to work, as Ruben said, with red blood cells in a very elaborate way that Becker laid out in his books. If you don't know that, you need to, and I'm going to show you why you need to.
I wish I could see the slides.
Most of you may or may not know my story. 12 years ago, I was a big dude, really big dude, and it was the things that kind of really bothered me. And the thing is, I would tell you, from failures, you get your successes. And no matter what your issue is today,
the difference between success and failure is that one other shot where you gave up and the next person didn't. If you want success, you just keep going. If what you're doing is not working, you pivot and start going this way, but you just don't give up.
There's going to be something in this talk that is going to allow you to improve your own situation. And for me, it was a crazy story that many of you may have heard in the podcast. It's tied to this book. And I'm not going to get too deep into the book, but it's an old one. But here's the key. It was a guy named Julian Battle, who's a famous attorney in New York City. But this is a fable. It's a bullshit story. It's not for true. Okay? But it turns out he had a heart attack in the middle of the courtroom, and he was an asshole. That means low dopamine. So that's the reason why I started out with the low dopamine story. Well, he has a heart attack. He decides to sell all his earthly things, go back in. He went to the Himalaya mountains, came back, realized that there's 25,000 sunrises in a life. He was tan. He lost 100 pounds. And he was a nice guy now. People couldn't figure it out. So the person that sent me this book was trying to give me a different message. And that message for this talk's not important. But what is important is, what did I take away from this book? Those things right there. Those were the key things that I didn't know. I didn't know these things were possible. Then I started thinking about the book after some of the papers that I'd started reading. I said, is this possible that this could happen in real life? And that was my picture around 2005. And I was a low dopamine neurosurgeon at that time. Some people may still consider me that way, but I think I'm a little bit better than I am today than I was then.
Sorry.
But I want you to look at the title of that. Guarantee very few people in this room believe what's up there. Does obesity begin in the eye? I'm going to tell you.
I got to write that down. I'd never even thought of that. Does obesity... And I've never seen this, but I'm going to tell you, yes, it does. So when light enters the eye, it does so many different things. From morning light before 10 a.m., actually, when light passes through your eyes, it wakes all your organs up. So all your organs are all on the same page, so they can function together. It gently wakes every organ you have up. And then the orange ginger shot. It's easier in the summer to do, because it's like you wake up at 5 by like 5:30, 5:45, the sun's up, and you're just like, you wake up basically and the sun's up. But in the wintertime it's a bit harder, because usually the sun doesn't come until much later. So does obesity begin in the eye? Yes. If all your organs do not wake up at the same time, if they do not go at the same time, you can't, because if you wake your stomach up and you haven't woken your lungs up, which the lung pumps blood through, why do you want nutrients in a body that is not pumping properly? You'd want those nutrients to be flood through, so why would you start digesting before your organs were awake? And then why slam the stomach with stuff just to kind of assault it in the morning? We're not going to assault our food. We're not going to assault our organs. We wake them gently up and then wait 15 minutes and then start eating. And you'll be able to digest, and a lot of health problems go away like that. A lot of them.
When I'm done with you, you're going to see a different perspective than you've ever seen before. Because I'm going to tell you the answer is yes. And how I got pretty famous on the internet is by writing something called a leptin prescription. When you go read it, you'll never see the word light in it. Just gives you 6 steps to do, and you'll find out why those 6 steps are important. But what did I do when I read the book? Immediately, I realized the guy went to the Himalaya mountains. What's really interesting about the Himalaya mountains is you see India's right here. The equator runs right through here. Noticed that the equator bisects that country. The other thing that I knew about the Himalaya mountains, they're really high up, like 25 to 30,000 feet. And one of the things that I realized immediately is that that would change the light frequency of what that person would get. And it turns out for every 1,000 feet you go up, you get more UV light. And then I remembered in the book, he said, yeah, he was tan. So that meant he had to have a lot more UVA light because UVA light tans. I did learn something in medical school from dermatologists. But the other key thing that I started to notice is I remember in medical school learning about how haplotypes in mitochondria vary by geography and also by latitude. So this is the key. This is where the cradle of life is right here. Why is this important for everybody in the room to understand? Because people that live in the East African Rift Zone, the original humans, they have an L0 haplotype. What does that mean? That means they do not uncouple their mitochondria. Why is that? They need all their energy to run away from lions, okay? People that live up here, which is cool. Most of us in the room, why? Because we come from Northern European haplotypes. We uncouple our mitochondria. What does that mean? That means we don't use food electrons to make energy, to make ATP. We use it to make heat. Why? Because there's no lions up here. You don't have to worry about lions. You have to worry about freezing your ass off. Okay? So you release heat from your mitochondria, and that does something specific to water that's sitting around your mitochondria. And what is that? It's something that's very counterintuitive. Warm shrinks water. Cold expands it. Well, why is that?
Oh my gosh, I had never thought that if you went out in the sun, I know it wakes everything up, it actually causes your natural sunblock to start being produced. So that makes sense. So if, say, I live in Michigan, it's a colder region, so the heat would want to shrink, and that would mean the water in my blood vessels, actually cold makes water expand. So let's let him talk about it, because I'm not quite understanding and I'm guessing right there. And as much as wanted just a hair.
Is right here. Why is this important for everybody in the room to understand? Because people that live in the East African Rift Zone, the original humans, they have an L0 haplotype. What does that mean? That means they do not uncouple their mitochondria. Why is that? They need all their energy to run away from lions. Okay? People that live up here, which is most of us in the room, why? Because we come from Northern European haplotypes. We uncouple our mitochondria. What does that mean? That means we don't use food electrons to make energy, to make ATP. We use it to make heat. Why? Because there's no lions up here. You don't have to worry about lions. You have to worry about freezing your ass off. Okay? So you release heat from your mitochondria, and that does something specific to water that's sitting around your mitochondria. And what is that? It's something that's very counterintuitive. Warm shrinks water.
Ooh, enjoy, Amy. That's actually, it's cold though. Whew. Even if the water heater was turned on, it's cold. Enjoy though. Get some good swimming, girl. Get that sunshine before 10 a.m. What are we talking about?
Cold expands it. Well, why is that important to a mitochondriac? Well, it goes back to this story right here.
That makes sense.
And if you look, most of us have these haplotypes right up here. Well, when you take a mitochondria and shrink it down, that brings the respiratory proteins closer together. What do we know in quantum?
Okay, so the respiratory.
Physics. Anytime you have an energy transfer when electrons move across a redox couple, the closer they are together, the more energy efficient they are. Isn't that interesting? I started putting these things together. I said, somehow that must be important. Then I started to read papers that every 1 angstrom, the distance between respiratory proteins drops off the energy it makes by a factor of 10. So what did I start to realize? Was being a fat ass really tied to energy excess, or is it maybe tied to energy loss back to the environment? Got me thinking, and I wasn't sure, but this paper came from the #1 mitochondrial researcher in the world. If you don't know his name, this is a name you want to write down, Dr. Doug Wallace. And he just won the Franklin.
That's important. I think I'm going to read Wallace's book too, because all this is so important. So being overweight actually releases energy back into your environment. So you actually not only, when you're overweight, you're tired and exhausted all the time. I know because I was heavy. But then that's why you release energy back into your environment. That's crazy. I heard the name Wallace, but I didn't catch the beginning part.
Now that must be important. Then I started to read papers that every 1 angstrom, the distance between respiratory proteins drops off the energy it makes by a factor of 10. So what did I start to realize? Was being a fat ass really tied to energy excess, or is it maybe tied to energy loss back to the environment? Got me thinking, and I wasn't sure, but this paper came from the #1 mitochondrial researcher in the world. If you don't know his name, this is a name you want to write down, Dr. Doug Wallace. And he just won the Franklin Award. That's usually something they give to somebody before they win a Nobel. He's going to win a Nobel Prize. He's the guy that found out that mitochondria are inherited from your mother only. He's also the one that linked all the
So your predictors for energy, that's interesting. You get from just your mother alone.
diseases. And this is going to shock you because I know most people don't know this. You have 2 genomes inside every cell. You have your nuclear genome and you have your mitochondrial. Medicine focuses in on the genetic one. I don't. I focus in on the mitochondrial one. The reason for that, it makes all the energy in your body. And guess what we now know from the science of epigenetics? Energy turns on and off the genome. That's the only.
That's important. I'm going to write it down.
Thing that does it. So we come to a point. How do we make energy proximal to a mitochondria in our body? Where does the process first start? Well, this is when I started to look at sunlight. And there's an interesting thing here. What your eyes can see is 380 to 780. Okay? Just for those of you who don't know, this is UV light, UVA, and that's red light. But here's the funny thing. The spectrum of the sun goes from, this is actually incorrect. This is Dr. Wunsch's slide, but it's 250 all the way up to 3,000. So it raised a question. Why are we not seeing these? And not only that, why is the retina, because most of you may not know this, we as humans are blind to UV light and to infrared light. We can't see it.
Chickens can, though. Chickens can see UV light and rays. Fun fact. They see all the colors we do, plus the UV.
But why is it there? And why doesn't our eye look at it? And I thought that was very peculiar. And I started to learn about things in quantum mechanics. And the reason that that occurs is something called the quantum Zeno effect. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to tell you that when you observe a frequency, it changes the reality you get. And it turns out that all the key signaling in your eye works on the frequencies you can't see. And it's
Eye works on all the frequencies you can't see. That is beautifully interesting.
done that way by design. So, this question made me realize that there's an issue in the eye. We have an eye camera. Almost everybody in this room would not argue that your eye is predominantly something we use to see, as we're doing right now. But there's this other thing that I learned about neurosurgery called the clock. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Most of you probably heard it. It's the main circadian oscillator. I started to wonder, is there a difference based in these frequencies between these two systems in the eye, and how do they somehow link? So I went further. In 1879, everything changed. This is when we had the first incandescent bulb. I challenge anybody in this room to go back and find me any papers where there's any chronic diseases present. In fact, Doug Wallace has publicly said 85 to 90% of human diseases are related to mitochondrial origins. Okay? Chronic diseases began right around the turn of the century. For those of you who don't believe it, I think I told you this last year. In 1900, colon cancer was the 37th leading cause of death in the United States. Today, it's number 2. So if you believe in Darwin's paradigm, explain to me how in 5 generations.
Colon cancer is caused from the lack of fiber in our diets. If you think you don't need fiber, I can assure you, you're sorely mistaken. We have processed all the fiber out of our diet. This is the cost. Colon cancer in young people are on the rise. Do you ever see any people, really younger people, eating fruit and vegetables? Very often, no, it's fast food.
Generations, we went from 37 to 2. It's impossible. But guess what makes it possible? When you understand the energetics from the mitochondria, guess what? That's what Wallace has been teaching people, and nobody is listening in my profession. Okay? And that includes the PhD researchers, because they're the ones that teach us in medical school. But Wallace has been banging this drum for a long time. So the evolution of light doesn't equal the evolution built into your cells. Let's take it further. You saw this picture from Rubin. 4.6 billion years. 1980s, 1879, here. But this is the key thing I want to show you. What's the key in this picture? Red balances blue. Don't forget that. I'm going to make sure you have that burned into your retina when I get done with you. Now, if Dave wants to invite you back, we'll talk about the skin next year. This is not a talk about skin, okay? But it's important. But this year is all about the eye. And this picture, the reason why I put it up here is I want to show you, this is what I learned in medical school. The anterior chamber, the lens, and the cornea block UV light. That's what every doctor in the United States is still taught to this very day. Okay? So when I went on this journey after reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, I found out that that was bullshit too. Okay? And it turns out, if you look...
I'm so sorry, y'all. I gotta get a pen. I can't miss anything. I'm actually gonna go after my PhD too, because I want to make strides in what we know in the medical field to be. I just want to take it all apart, and I want to rebuild it up, because the food we eat matters, how we grow our crops matter, how we till our soil matters. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Look at the signals get through. 1% of UVB gets through, and 3% of UVA gets through. And you heard one of the other speakers mention something about collagen and piezoelectricity. And it's not important that you know that, but you know what is important? The vitreous of the eye is a special collagen. It's not found anywhere else in the body. You know what it does? Slows light down.
Mass and energy are the same thing. Mass is produced when energy slows down. So our eyes slow down, so that's where we get our energy from, which would mean the mitochondria is like vital. Thank you for the heart thingy, circle thingy. Thank you.
Before it gets to the retina. I was like, that's kind of interesting, because what did I say to you before about the E equals MC squared? Anytime you slow light down, you create things with structure, with...
Okay.
with mass, you create matter, don't you? So I thought this was kind of interesting. And then I also want to teach you another thing that's really important.
I am learning so much, and I'm so grateful for being here.
Important about UV light. It's the only part of the visible spectrum that works in a nonlinear fashion. What does nonlinear mean? My members know what it means, but I want to make sure you guys know. A small stimulus leads to a massive amplification. In other words, it can have massive effects that you don't anticipate. We're going to talk about some of those. Okay?
So UV light, how it enters the eye is it's not linear. It's nonlinear. So that's interesting too.
The key thing, this is a picture from Ben's movie. You need to question everything. You got a guy speaking to you right now who doesn't believe pretty much anything he learned in medical school can be taken with any truth. You need to examine everything. And this story about me constructing the leptin prescription and all these things I learned about the eye are the reason why I'm passionate about what I do. Now, the pupil is a perfect black box radiator. What does that mean? Because we're doing a little physics here. It means that light can go in and come back. How did I know immediately that UV light got through? I challenge anybody to go to Batteries and Bulbs, buy a UV eye as a special collagen. It's not found anywhere else in the body. You know what it does? Slows light down.
Okay. Special collagen that isn't anywhere else in the body. So that's kind of not right.
before it gets to the retina. I was like, that's kind of interesting, because what did I say to you before about the E equals MC squared? Anytime you slow light down, you create things with structure, with mass. You create matter, don't you? So I thought this was kind of interesting. And then I also want to teach you another thing that's really important about UV light. It's the only part of the visible spectrum that works in a nonlinear fashion. What does nonlinear mean? My members know what it means, but I want to make sure you guys know. A small stimulus leads to a massive amplification. In other words,
So just a small stimulus leads to a massive reaction.
it can have massive effects that you don't anticipate. We're going to talk about some of those. Okay? The key thing, this is a picture from Ben's movie. You need to question everything. You're looking at a guy speaking to you right now who doesn't believe pretty much anything he learned in medical school can be taken with any truth. You need to examine everything. And this story about me constructing the leptin prescription and all these things I learned about the eye are the reason why I'm passionate about what I do. Now, the pupil is a perfect black box radiator. What does that mean? Because
The pupil is a perfect black box radiator.
we're doing a little physics here. It means that light can go in and come back.
So means light can go in and go out.
I know immediately that UV light got through. I challenge anybody to go to Batteries and Bulbs, buy a UVA flashlight, LED, put it in anybody's retina. You know what you'll see? You'll see fluorescence come right back. You don't need anything else. So every time the ophthalmologist, like when I gave this talk 3 months ago and I proved to them they were full of shit, that's how I did it. I brought a UVA flashlight and shined it in all their eyes. I said, what'd you see? Explain, based on what we learned in medical school. That shut them up pretty quick. Okay? Because you don't need a lot of photons to see the effect. This is something that everybody in this room...
Hi, Jim. How are you this morning? I'm listening. I have a friend who has mitochondria issues. She can't take the mitochondria that's inside of her cell and actually utilize it as energy. So it kind of just dies within her cell, and it's kind of really crappy for her. She has no energy unless she does this legal speed type stuff, and it's terrible for her. She's she's not doing well because she literally can't make energy. So I'm looking into the light effects of energy. Someone gave me this program, and I was like, this talk. But his name is Dr. Jack Kruse, and he talks about how mass and energy are the exact same thing. So E equals MC squared. So if mass and energy, if you light, mass and energy. So if you slow light down, it produces energy. If you slow light down, it produces a mass. It makes matter. Your eyes have a collagen in them that actually slow light down. So you actually make energy, you make matter by letting sunlight pass through your eyes. It also wakes your organs up altogether. You'll have organ dysfunction if you don't get out and before 10 a.m. and just let a little sunshine pass through your eyes. It's also your natural sunblock. It gives us a dopamine hit. It makes us happier. The sun does great. So good morning. Excuse me. I'm super excited about my thing. It is really good. But I hadn't ever thought of it that if you slow light down, it creates mass. That's really intriguing, because And now they're like, the pupil's the perfect black box radiator. It means light can go in and out. And he proved that you can actually see UV light by shining a UV light. And that's important. Do you know chickens see, yes, and do you know then you need, I think it's vitamin K to actually process the vitamin D you get. You have to make sure you have ready available vitamin K to bond and pair with it so your body can actually digest it. I like you, Jim. You're smart. You're very smart. And I did not know it had to be a full 15 minutes for to get the vitamin D. That's good to know. That is very good to know. I take a walk every morning in the sunlight. It kind of helps with, all that stuff. Actually looking up, this has nothing to do with the skin, but understanding how light and what it does to the body and as it passes through the eyes kind of is important for the skin. Let me see. I'll call you back. I love that. I'm actually doing a video today. Someone responded to my kidney video, my chronic kidney video, and said that you should not increase protein. I said with chronic kidney disease or kidney failure, you should decrease your protein and increase your fiber. And this person says, no, 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 you shouldn't. But then I found out what they have, and it made sense that they went on a carnivore diet, and they're just fixing their metabolic dysfunction in every other organ, and they're kind of straining their kidneys out because the kidneys can only filter so much. And then after, if it can only filter so much and it's still passing through, the toxins that it can't filter out will just stay, building up. And I want to tell them you're fixing every other organ in your body, but then you're straining your kidneys, so you should probably go on a fast or something for a couple days. Yeah. I believe that you should just eat real food. If it feeds the gut, I'm sorry, protects the liver and feeds your gut, that's all. That's all you need. My saying is, how are they even feeding the bacteria? If you don't feed the bacteria in your intestines, it's like a dog that you have to, take care of. If you don't feed it, it's going to get nutrition and it will eat on you. So my thought is, how is it feeding? The only possible way I could see it feeding it is if you were to eat meat and then you were to eat the meat and it's being digested, and it say not all of it gets digested and it starts to finally get to your large intestines and colon and starts to ferment. But then that would state that you have a problem with your digestion because you should be digesting it before it got all the way down there. So I don't know. I find it very curious because I don't trust any of the science. It's kind of been bought and paid for. So if you just look at what we know about the body and try to place it, to make sense. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. My grandma's to 95. She went from a GFR of 15. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but she has a failing congestive heart failure and failing kidneys. We've got her GFR from 15 up to 30. So she's literally at 95 healing her way out of kidney failure. She will never fully be out of kidney failure because once the kidneys are scarred, but the kidneys in the body can regenerate, and is really cool. It's really cool. I get so excited to talk about this stuff. It's my passion. That's why I'm going for my PhD, because you can't make a bit, you can't even put a dent, you can't even participate it. Yeah, right? She looks good for her age. For 95, she's rocking. And she remembers everything. She remembers stuff that I can't remember. She's like, oh yeah, last Tuesday we had eggs and then something. And I'm like, I can't remember what I had for breakfast. How are you remembering this crap, Grandma? That's what we say. My grandfather always said, if I go first, I am going to never be able to find anything. So I refuse to die before you because I will be so lost. I will know where nothing is. I think PA. What is that? PA. Yeah, she's not in a home. She's here. She can't live by herself. Is Amy here? I thought Amy went swimming. Hi, Amy. Amy's actually going to be able to go live for the first time. So I thought you couldn't go live unless you had 50 followers on YouTube, but that's not true. You can go live whenever you want from a computer. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited. See, now there's one person in the room. So, Jim, I think she did go swimming now. I enjoy cooking too. I just want to undo the terrible, because people are getting rich off idiots. People are getting so rich off idiots. And I just want to get rich off making the idiots smarter, because they don't need these diet plans or these crazy systems. They just need to fix their metabolic dysfunction. And these people see like big success stories. They're like, oh my God, this person had such success eating like this. So then they'll eat like that. And then that won't be the same exact thing. It's not, it's not, it's not, it's not. What works for me might not work for you. I might need a high fat diet. You might need a no calorie diet with zero fats. Everybody's different. And I just want to help people figure out what in the hell their deal is and do it like I don't want to have to have a 9 to 5 job. I hate. Yay! Yay! Hold on. So when do you get to go back to work? That's the real question. And are you excited? I would be. That's my thing. I'm trying to do my own thing because I'm. Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations. So you've come pretty far. It's your shoulder, right? That was having having issues for you. Your rotator cuff that you're having issues with. That's the thing, right? We have one body, and if it falls apart on us, we are screwed. That's why I tell my grandma, you better use it or you will lose it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that. See, that's my thing. I don't want to have to leave the house. I go crazy. People are stupid, beyond stupid, and I don't know how they go from this to this, and they're say someone's trying to do something and I'm watching this person struggling through it, and I'm just like, they get to the end and they're shocked at their results, and it's like, how did you expect that to go any other way than what just happened? You're an idiot. Oh, that's right. That's right. Ugh. I I am only had surgery once. Technically, I guess twice. I had cancer, breast cancer, and I had a mass removed from my breast. And oof, oof, 4 full months. Mm. So so you're a commercial driver. Do you just drive around in New York, or do you drive, um, like, no, no, no. I beat breast cancer about 4 years ago. And that really like woke myself up. One, how did I get breast cancer? Why did I get breast cancer? What in the fuck? Because once you get breast cancer, I mean, that's terrible. Um, Cancer of any kind is terrible, but yeah, cancer sucks. But I beat it. I just got to go for routine screenings, I guess you'd call them. And I think I got more radiation from all the screening that they've done. Like they were doing at one point, they were doing mammograms once a week. And then at one point, they were doing them twice a week. And then once I beat the cancer, had the lump removed, all that fun stuff. Even after that, hold on 1 second. Please leave a message after the tone. Did you answer the phone and just take it out and hang it up or something? That way it was so loud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She's so loud. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have well, it's funny because I don't have the genetic code, that B1AC or whatever it is. I don't have it. However, my grandfather's sister died of breast cancer. My aunt just beat breast cancer. basically breast cancer runs in the family, but it does not, I don't have the genetic marker for it. But you know what I did do? I always put my cell phone in my right breast pocket or breast cup, bra cup. I just stick my phone in there. And I had a friend that was like, Denise, you're going to regret doing that. And that's where the mass was, exactly where I put my phone, right behind, like right under the skin, right there. So I think even though I got tested, I don't have the markers, the genetic markers. I think it's B1AC or something. I don't know. I don't know what the things are, but I do not have any markers in my genetic genome for it. But I do have genetically, a lot of my family has had breast cancer. So it's like I don't think there's so much to the human body that we just don't understand. And it's really fascinating to me that there's so much left that we don't know. And there's so many people that are just so gung-ho about saying, oh, this is the facts, this is the way they are. And I'm like, are they? Are they really? Or are these the facts you're reading to cherry pick to say that this is what it is? Because that happens a lot too. I don't trust any of the science. I don't. I don't. They had, back in the 90s, they convinced everybody that cereal was healthy, that your option to pick a good hearty bowl of breakfast cereal over any kind of egg, because the eggs were evil, eggs were bad, was bad. I don't know. I was like, okay, that right there goes to show you there's no way. And then did you know that Kellogg, the cereal guy, Tony the Tiger, they're great. That man is a sick, sick, sick bastard. He used to castrate using acid girls and boys. He'd burn the clitoris off of little girls and he'd burn the Peter off a little boy, castrate him with acid. Ugh. The Kellogg guy. So they say cell phone radiation, that there's different the size of particles are different in cell phone radiation and Bluetooth radiation and microwave radiation to car radiation. They say they're all different, but all of them put toxins into our body. They have linked it with cancers. They do know, like, if you watch your phone, like with it close to your face, kind of like this, that it can, your whole, taking images, this whole area is heat red because radiation, like your microwave, works by, it boils the water inside whatever it is. So, like, like eggs, how it changes the texture of your eggs is because it boiled the fluid inside of the eggs. No, 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 no. Just the mass out of the breast. So I have a gnarly scar that's like this. It goes from my armpit to my nipple. It's like this big, and they just removed that. It didn't do anything to my breast at all. So no, just the part, the literal lump that was right underneath my skin. They removed that, and yeah, that's it. Left me with a really like a thick scar like this, and about this long. It's pretty big for what it is. Oh, yeah. Ouch. See, that's a lot. I met a girl who had both of her breasts removed. She fought really hard, had to get them removed, had no other options. But then she went and got plastic surgery and got fake ones put in. And then she never got better. And she kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. Guess what? The breast implants were making her sick. So she had to get the breast implants removed. This poor girl had went from fighting cancer in her breast to getting it removed to get, as a woman, it sucks when you have to get both your breasts removed, especially it sucks. So you're trying to find some normalcy with yourself and be comfortable with yourself. So you go with the plastic surgery, and then that makes you 10 times sicker. So I don't know. I think cancer research has gone really far, but I also think we attack cancer in a way that is not, we should be eating properly. Do you know if you put the body in a state of ketosis, like if you were to eat a ton of protein, you would burn off any trash cells that weren't strong enough to withstand the burn? So you would potentially do what immunotherapy does and turn your body in on itself. Immunotherapy is great, but the long-term effects of immunotherapy is it turns your own immune system on itself. Getting it to turn off can sometimes be a problem once you turn your immune system in on itself. Sometimes people have, organ problems long after they've stopped immunotherapy. We don't have a lot of, long-term data yet. I have a friend, he actually has cancer, and they're removing his entire left side from here over. They're removing it all. Then he has part of it in his neck. So then they're going to take bone from his right arm and skin from his thigh to regraft his face back together. And he's looked perfectly healthy. I never tell he had stage 4 cancer. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Are you talking about for the immune system? How the immune system turns on itself and then they can't get the immune system to turn off? And I mean, I think we could fight cancer with just protein alone. I have my theories. If you give the body the right conditions, it should be able to kill anything. And if your body's going into autophagy every day, regardless, it should be killing everything that's not supposed to be there. And you can go to autophagy through a fast. You can go through autophagy by just getting enough sleep. So eat, a couple hours before you go to bed. Don't eat at night. That used to be my biggest problem, was eating at night. I was a night eater. I don't know if you've seen on my profile, I was pretty heavy. Well, I've been skinny my whole life. I hit my 20s, got cancer, got really just ick. Lost a ton of weight once I got the cancer and, get sick. That helped me. But, you know what? I used to be a smoker too. I smoke weed though, but I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I smoked for like 5 years. Me too, best decision I ever made. However, I'll smell somebody that smells like cigarettes and I'm like, I walked around smelling like that. That smells like ass. And then on the other part, it's like, ooh, that smells kind of good. Inhale. Make a, yeah, smoke. It was one thing to smoke, like my grandmother smoked back in the 40s. It was one thing to smoke back then. But have you seen the amount of junk that's in cigarette? Aw, thank you. Aw, thank you. I am, how do I put this? I am like one of the lowest maintenance people ever. The only thing I do is at nighttime, I do like a routine thing, but I only wash my face and then I moisturize it and then I do massaging and exercise. But I exercise my whole body. You have to. One or ghetto other. I know one or the other. I know spell check has done wonders. You put two words together and it just changes it to whatever. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm actually pretty from the inside out. Oh, Kylie went to her dance. She won prom queen. It was so cute. It was so cute. And they weren't gonna do.
You can do it reproducible. So when you go to the ophthalmologist, you can say,
Hold on. I know I got sidetracked off my video. I know, and you know what? It's only gonna get worse because the more and more AI we put into stuff, AI scares me. People just so readily use it, like at Amazon, you can have that scanner thing. How do you think like governments are perfecting all this stuff like face scan technology, which they have, but how do you make it better? You have idiots use it for you and show you where your weaknesses are, and that just makes it better. So you have people that do that. Yes. Oh, I was gonna say, so They weren't even gonna do the prom queen or anything, but one of the kids got the microphone from the DJ as like a joke. They were announcing that this little sixth grade boy was prom king. And then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna announce prom king." And then the entire gym goes, "Oh my God, Kylie! Oh my God, Kylie! It's Kylie!" Because nobody was dancing, nobody was doing anything. Kylie got everybody to the dance floor, and they started doing this like holding hands and doing this big, huge circle thing. And then they all just started like, being goofy with it. And then next thing you know, everybody's on the dance floor. She like broke the ice. That's the kind of person my daughter is. And she also like, if she sees somebody at the lunch table sitting alone that doesn't have any friends, she's like, "Hey, come on over. We'd love to have you." She's just a really nice person and everybody loves her. Nobody ever has a problem with my doodle boodles. And so that's what I call her, my doodle boodles. And she's like, I'm like, "Am I embarrassing you, my baby doos?" Oh, thank you. Yeah, I am. We are like exactly the same. She's my literal twin walking around. We have like the same personality. We laugh the same. We talk the same. We everything. We're just like twins. People call us a generational twin. I've heard some stupid things though, like some really sweet, like the looks in this family, the looks run in this family. But then somebody was like, "Is that Jesus's baby? Because I don't see nobody else's DNA in that." I'm like, "Well, thank you. Obviously, two people went into making this child. You're an idiot." No, I went from, well, okay, kinda. So I resell on Amazon. That's does all right. It's enough that, pays a few things. But I'm not making a lot of money off of it. But I also get paid to take care of my grandmother. Then I'm doing student things, and I really honestly, Jim, I technically don't want a 9 to 5. I want to just learn and teach people about diet and exercise and food. I want to change the curriculum at schools. I guess that is all work, but I don't want to work for someone. I want to do this freelance. I enjoy not going to work. I was nurse for a long time. Worked at Alzheimer's was my specialty, and that is a sick disease. It's type 3 diabetes, and I don't wish that on anybody because that is terrible. But yeah, I guess I just want to do my own thing, if that makes sense. I want to work, but for myself. Oh, that's pretty cool. So do you go for days at a time, or you just go for um like for a certain amount of time, or are you off just like jet setting until you get the stuff there? I don't know how that works when you commercial drive. Do you have to be a certain place at a certain time? Well, obviously, I guess pick up your load and drop it off by the agreed time, right? Oh, really? That's really cool. That's really cool. That's nice. Bet you've seen some cool. I love road trips. I'm addicted to them. As a kid, I lived in Louisiana, and my grandparents lived in here actually, and they'd come. Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. And you know what you do is something that AI is not going to replace for a very long time. Automatic drivers, they have to come so far. Ford's got their own tracks around here and stuff. Like they're building a whole engineering warehouse. I'm right across from the Henry Ford Museum that is just about self-driving trucks and cars and stuff. I'm That's really awesome. Um, I enjoy road trips. I would take a road trip with you. I don't think they will soon. I really don't. Like they're just now building I guess soon, like in the next 20 years, maybe, but they have a problem. So the batteries needed to even power, like the technology, so Stone Age, the batteries needed to power the 18-wheeler to be electric and to do their electric self-driving cars that they're trying to do. The batteries, you need like 4 or 5 of them, and they weigh so much they would crush the road underneath them. They've got so long to go. Maybe 20 years, but I don't think that's soon. I think that's pretty far off, especially since we were supposed to have self-driving cars by the year 2000, and we clearly do not have self-driving cars right now. We do not. We're even going to pretend like we do. No self-driving cars. Oh. Hi. I'm live on TikTok too, but usually my TikToks don't do well in the mornings. Yeah, you know what? My friend Pam is blind, so that would help people like her out immensely because she can't see, she can't drive, so self-driving cars. But I think we've got quite a ways to go before self-driving cars are feasible. I know they have those little self-driving DoorDash thingamaboopers that bring stuff, but that's, yeah. So I have a warehouse by me that sells cheaper stuff. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. So I buy stuff and I resell it. Like I just bought these wooden spoons for $3, and the price on Amazon is $25. So I bought them out of those. I went to a resale shop and bought jeans for $1 a piece, and I bought 1,000 pairs of jeans. I had to individually pack them, but I bought them for $1 a piece, and I'm selling them for $15 a piece. Now Amazon takes its cut. I have my cut, my shipping, and then I get the profit after that. Yeah, that's what I do. It's not glamorous or anything, and then I get paid to take care of my grandmother. It's not glamorous, and but we are making it for the most part. I'm saving it because I want land. I want land. I want land. There's no land here. There's hardly even a balcony here. So I want to get the balcony, get some land. I want to grow stuff in the ground. I like being in the dirt. And then they spray so many chemicals here for the grass. You can't get in the dang lake. Don't get me wrong. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, hold on, you can see my view I get from this is from the kitchen, what I look at from the kitchen window. You got the lake over here. You have this tree is very messy. It drops so much crap down, but it's wonderful. And then, the green grass and stuff, but normally it's dead. I couldn't afford to own nothing in New York like that because the real estate market in New York is crazy. There's too many people. There's such a high demand that they can basically ask anything they want for the land. They don't have to, That's sad. That's what I was telling my friend. I said, I think we got the whole point of society is a freaking pyramid scheme. If you stop and think about it with a little bit of logic, so everybody under the sun is like, things are too expensive. Things are too expensive. Back in my day, it's got to be what it's got to be, because think about it. Everything from the shipping people. So the shipping people need raises. So the cost of shipping goes up. So your cost of shipping goes up. Well, then Jenny needs a raise, and she's the one who does your boxes. So you have to give Jenny a raise because you need your boxes done. And everybody needs their piece of the pie. Things get more expensive because everybody needs their piece of the pie, and you just keep building this false thing. The thing is the lowest paid person on the rung, you're never going to be able to give that person a fair wage because it can't keep going like this, and people expect, and like real estate, speaking of which, when people sell their house, they're like, oh, wait a second. I bought it for $50,000 and I'm going to sell it for $100,000. First off, you're a dork. That all has to be involved with Jenny. Jenny needed a raise. Billy needed a raise. Price of the dollar went down. It cost more to purchase things of $1. So what I could purchase in 1950 is not what I'm going to purchase in the year 2000. You're not going to get the same. So people are like, oh, I made all this money. That's just looking at it, what I would consider girl or boy math. It's not the real numbers, because if you go back, you probably aren't making too much of a profit in the investment you've had to put into the house. and all this stuff to make you get, you know, this huge lump sum of money when you do sell it is it's all fake. I mean, if people just literally stop and think, they would realize their reality around them is a joke. A joke. And you're not getting the same for it. So what you bought it for versus what you're selling it for is basically the same thing. If you factor in all the money you spent on taxes, if you factor all the crap of necessities of updating and repairing over the years, but it looks like you did. It really does look, but if you stop and put any thought process into it, it is not the case. You did not make a profit. But it looks, and you know what? That's the perception, right? Everything is how we see it, and that's important. If you think you got a profit, I guess that's most of the battle, right? Yeah. You know, Michigan's really nice too. Michigan's a beautiful state. If you can stand the cold, you can stand the cold, and you know, like it's like a cold and dark, a lot of months, cold and dark. No, no. You could honestly look at the people in San Diego, and I'm so sorry, I don't know where you're from. You're from New York. Okay, the view would be good. And he's saying he'd like to live in San Diego. That would be the dream goal. I can't agree with that dream goal. Think about your neighbors. Think about the homelessness. Think about the wildfires. Think about all those things. I would reconsider that. That's like me saying my dream home is in Louisiana. I went through Hurricane Katrina. I lost everything I have, including my best friend did not evacuate and she perished. Her house fell in on her. It was a really sad time, really hard time for me. You couldn't pay me to live there again. You natural disaster. The people are wonderful there. Best times of my life. You couldn't pay me to live there. It doesn't matter if they're liberal or not. People have lost their freaking minds. Do you know, I have a friend that lives in California, and they say instead of calling the cops to keep their crime reports down, there was somebody in the street toting a gun, like waving and firing, and you know, the cops went up to him and said, you know, you probably should go home and sleep this off. Didn't check anything. And then I'm just like, how is that good for anyone involved? If someone's toting a gun around, firing it in the air, I'm all for people protecting themselves. I'm not saying that. I'm all for, you know, the right to bear arms, especially again, to protect yourself against the government. I really believe in that stuff. I think the government overreach is crazy. Now it's not so bad, I guess, because Trump, I guess, is cutting everything. So I guess it's supposed to help the overreach. Let's hope to goodness so. Let's hope to Pete's sake. You know where I am? I'm for common sense. We all knew, I don't care what anybody says, we all know that the politicians have been bought and paid for. We all know this. We know if you go into office and you have not very much money to your name, well, within a year, you're practically going to be a millionaire. How is that even possible? How is that possible? So from common sense, just right there alone, I know we need a government reform. I am a small business owner. I sell my stuff through an LLC, so that way I'm a limited liability. I don't have any liability on it. I'm not being nickeled and dimed right now. When I was before, I mean, you had to file so much paperwork, and it almost made it impossible to make a profit as a small business person just starting out. It was really hard. Best in the world. Yeah, you know what? I have a friend who during the wintertime stays a week here and then a week in San Diego, a week here and a week in San Diego. She gets very sick going back and forth because of the two different climates. But she's on the beach half the time when it's snowing here, and it's like I'm kind of jealous of that. We just had snow not too long ago. We're actually having our first 80-degree day today. Well, 79, I think, is the high today. It's almost June. We normally have snow all the way to the end of April. I mean, it is a cold climate here, but I enjoy the cold. Um, yeah, that is the thing, right? I guess no matter where you go, there's gonna be stupid people, and you just need to, do the best you can by your family, protect your family. As my dad always said growing up, he says, "This is our patch of land, and we're going to protect our patch of land. Screw anybody outside that gate. We're worried about us here. We're gonna protect this land in this patch," and that's what we did. Just worry about ourselves, get ourselves right, kind of thing. How's everybody today? You enjoying today? I'm just randomly talking about stuff. Um, I'm really excited about the M equals MC squared. Slowing down light creates mass and matter, and your eyes have a collagen that's found nowhere else in the body, and that actually slows light down so your eyes make matter. So it's beautiful. Light is responsible for ah. Yeah, I love the Henry Ford Museum. It is so much fun. So much fun. They have so much cool stuff at the Henry Ford Museum. They even have like planes that you can go into, like from the 1940s, where they have like the wicker chairs just sitting there, like a lawn chair basically. And that's what you sat in to fly and go places with people. Yeah, me too. People come from all over the world to go to the Henry Ford, and it is so close. Henry Ford and Greenfield Village, they're right next to each other. Um, so the Henry Ford entryway is so breathtaking, and it's modeled, I think, after the United Nations. It's replica exactly to look exactly alike. It is so cool, and I love it. So if you do come up here, we can go to the Henry Ford Museum because that would be so cool. I love that place. My friend went this past weekend and she said it was very boring. Not the weekend before. I think it was weekend. Yeah, not this weekend. Weekend before. Said it was very, very boring. And I was like hanging on every word. Like I love seeing Abraham Lincoln, the chair he was shot in, is there, stained up and everything. It has the original Rosa Parks bus where Rosa Parks took her stance. She was too tired to get up. That whole revolution. I mean, they have it all there. They even have like the original McDonald's sign, and they have like a McDonald's thing in there, but they serve zero hot food except for like soup. But they can't cook there because they can't have a risk of a fire. There's too much money. That thing, the Henry Ford Museum is 7 football fields in length. 7 football fields in length. They have trains, they have cars, they have period furniture, they have stuff. It's so cool. Like they have their own little like movie theater there. That's where we saw Mesoamerica. I went the last weekend. That was trippy. It was like an acid trip. You were seeing all these shapes and colors, and it was like a 3D like experience, but it was life changing because the guy had worked with light, sounds, and geometric patterns for like 10 years and like found ways, did the science of which figures in the brain subconsciously trigger what, listening to what frequencies in which ear at what time. I mean, it was life changing. I think you can still get tickets for Mesoamerica. It's traveling the country. So wherever you're at, I would look into it. Mesoamerica XL, and it is 45 minutes of the most life changing, relaxing thing you will ever sit through. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm so enjoying it. I enjoyed it. My daughter enjoyed it. Thought it was though a documentary on America, like it was mesmerizing through America or something, and I just did not. Plays the pan hand thing and all these geometric shapes and colors, lights and sounds, all triggered in different ears at times and frequencies, and it's just he guides you through like this deep breathing meditation thing, and it's like super trippy and super psychedelic. I highly recommend it. It cost since I'm a student, it didn't cost very much money. It's like $15 a ticket. For an evening of fun, I didn't think that was that bad. We went to the Henry Ford Museum first, and then we went to Mesoamerica second, and that was a lot of fun. We wanted to make sure we were there early so we could get really good seats because it was first come serve access to the seats. Luckily, the theater sat so many people because we were out in the parking lot for like 2 seconds and we walked back in and we saw this big influx of people all of a sudden going. But I thought it was for a wedding because there's weddings at the Henry Ford Museum consistently every weekend, almost every night. They have a wedding there. Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford Museum. Weddings all year long. And it's beautiful. You have the reception through the museum. It's really cool. But yeah, I just like the museum. I highly recommend going, y'all. Henry Ford Museum, not Detroit. It's right next to Detroit. What is it called? I don't want to call it Allen Park. And then there's a Ford LaRouche factory tour that you can go on, and you can see how they build the Ford trucks. They do the what are those really? The Raptors. They build the Raptors there. The electric trucks are built in a different warehouse, but you do get to see through the tour you do. They take you around the grounds, and then you go into the actual factory, and there's no flash photography allowed because obviously these people are, making a living on their 9 to 5, and they don't want to be plastered all over the internet. So there's no, electronic devices that you can use. Did you have an Elvis wedding in Vegas? Is that? That the Henry Ford is beautiful. The Henry Ford, they have some of the most beautiful architecture there. Down Henry Ford was a very particular person, and he had the money to make sure because it was a school. The Henry Ford Museum was a school, and it still is a school. It's a school for STEM learning. Like, they help restore things at the museum. They have like every sort of like school, and so is the Greenfield Village. Greenfield Village operates as a school, but a younger elementary school, and then the high school and middle school are at the Henry Ford Museum. But for over demanding people to people were like, it's not fair that our kids can't afford to go here, you need to open it to the public. So he was forced to open it to the public, and that's when he was like, okay, this is a museum, because the kids there were building cars, they were doing so much hands-on stuff. It was a lot of STEM learning, and it's actually one of the first STEM schools in America. Yeah, I've never been married. I was in one relationship that was like 10 years, but he got addicted to crack, and it was bad. It was a circus. I agree. It's a circus. But I think mine was a circus. I had to leave for my own health and benefit and the safety of myself because this mother effer was a lunatic. But marriage is a 3-ring circus at times, yes. My dad, when he got divorced, we traveled from Florida to Texas. He sold his wedding ring for a Mountain Dew. He said that's all it's worth. Pack of cigarettes and a Mountain Dew. But my grandparents were married for... Hey, Grandma, how long were you and Papa married?
What?
How long were you and Papa married?
Oh, almost 60 years.
60 years. They had a beautiful marriage. It was very beautiful. But you don't see marriages like theirs very often because they were able to talk about stuff. They never fought, like hoot and holler and fought at each other. They worked together. They were each other's best friends and relied on each other for everything. And oh, thank you. That was years and years ago. I've since, healed from that stuff. But I know, 60 years. Yeah, the world she grew up in and the world she knew no longer exists. Like, she adopted her son, my uncle. She paid $3 for the entire adoption. $3. The entire adoption from end to the whole thing, kit and caboodle, $3. $3 is what it cost her to adopt. The entire adoption, $3. I just can't get over that. And that was in the 1950s. So, $3 was a little bit more money than it is now. But actually, our money system's failing. It's a crock of crap. The money system is fake too. And when they switch over to full digital, there's going to be an influx of free wealth up for grabs. So if you know what you're doing, you can grab that wealth and become a millionaire real quick. Yeah. Back when people would talk and communicate together, and now they almost like fight against each other. I have a friend who is married, but when she spends money, she hides it. I think he hides money from her. They hate each other. They stab at each other all day long. She's very not in a happy marriage, and it's really sad to see because, the human experience is about happiness. And if you don't have happiness at the end of the day, what experience are you living? One of sorrow, regret, and sadness. You have to, and it's sad because they've been married for like over 20 years, and it breaks my heart because that was at one point her best friend, her person that she relied on, and somewhere down the road it became someone that she almost can't stand to look at, and they sleep in separate bedrooms, and it breaks my heart because she's a really good person, and her husband's a good guy. I don't know him too well, but he was used to be really active around here. Everybody says really awesome. I do know him in but I'm more her friend than I am his friend. So don't. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing, right? Though, when you're in a relationship with someone, whether you're making money or not making money, it's a relationship. It's supposed to be working together. Just because you don't need someone, that's not the reason you should be with someone, is because you need them. You should be with someone because that person makes you smile. That person, you want to see that person every day. Even when you're mad at them, you can't help but be nice to them at the times. Like, you get what I'm saying? You should still vibe even when you're hating on each other or in an argument. You'd still never do that person wrong. And I think people do. I think marriage is is a very complicated thing. And I think I don't judge people's marriages. That I have no business judging. I really don't, because everybody's relationships works different. Like, I know people that have stigmas on them because the wife works and the husband stays home, and that's so new that people are they make fun of him and say he ain't got no manhood because he doesn't work. And I can imagine that would be hard to go through. But as long as the family unit is functioning, who the heck cares who's doing what? If the family unit's functioning properly, that's what matters. It shouldn't be about, this person is this gender, so they should do this. This person is this gender, so they should do this. Yeah. I just want to do me. And I just want to be happy, and I want to be happy doing me. And that's my life goals, But I agree with it. The relationship you need to be able to work together, because if you can't, and at the end of the day, all you do is fight and you're upset with each other, are you really happy? I would then sit the person down and be like, hey, what are we doing? We need to fix this because you're my best friend, you're my love, and now we're just being jackasses. What do we need to do to break this down and start this over or get back to what we had? What am I doing that's so terrible that at the end of the day, when you're lying on your deathbed, needs to be fixed so that we can be happy when we get to our deathbeds is what I think. Yeah. But that's the thing though, right? Is that even though it's easier said than done, because relationships with people are that they're relationships, and relationships are constant work and their energy. And that's why I'm single, because I don't have the energy. I have enough energy for myself, and I would never get into a relationship and not be there for them in any possible way that I could, because that's what you're signing up for. And that's one thing I would, yeah. I know. Marriages are tough, though. And marriages do go through an up in fluctuations of, working together, being angry with one another, loving on each other. At the end of the day, that's, you know, your partner. And you got to act like that's your partner in life. And you got to, you know, just hold on and enjoy the ride together. All the roller coasters, enjoy it together, because that's what you need to do. Togetherness. And I think people take stuff so seriously. My friend, her husband will leave something out on the counter and she just loses her mind. She has no patience for it. She has zero ability to handle things like that. And it's like, why are you this upset over something being left out on the counter? Is this really the issue? No. What the issue is you have something going on and your inability to communicate about it, because where he takes his shoes off is irrelevant. You're agitated by every little thing that he does. That's funny. So that is, to me, that is passive aggressive anger, misguided anger, I like to call it. I like to call it anger that should have been spent on this and you wasted your money on this with it. Because really, who cares? He left a piece of paper out on the counter. Who cares? Pick the paper up. It takes you 2 seconds. If you leave a piece of paper out on the counter, it's okay. I don't get it. Maybe I'm not. But again, I'm not going to judge someone's relationship because it's not what we do. But that is definitely misdirected and misguided. And if they could get past and figure out what the real issues are, like, I would ask your wife, I'd just be like, hey, look, I know this ain't the problem. What is the problem? Because you telling me for 100 times to move my shoes here and you know I like putting them here. Why don't we just make this the spot where I put my shoes and we can just move past this? Or what's the bigger issue here? Because this is ridiculous. If someone, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Me too. Yeah. I'm just like, You can spend your energy being upset all you want. I don't care who it is. I'm going to spend it happy. I am, that's all you have in this world. It's all about happiness. Our happiness is our currency. If you are miserable every single day, what that does to your body and to your brain is terrible. And you will age like crap versus just going, yeah. You want to do that? Yeah. As long as there's communication that we both agree, this is what, And if it's such a big deal that something be left here or not here, you just talk about it. I don't know. It just, It's a smart idea. Walk away, let her cool. Never fight when you're upset, though. When you feel super passionate, you just got to stop and walk away. If someone gets too overly into, what they're doing, breathe. It's okay. It's not worth it. I agree. The cortisol release in the brain alone, cortisol can be good or bad. So cortisol, people think of it as the stress hormone. So you release cortisol when having sex. You release cortisol when having an orgasm. Now, unless you're doing it wrong, that is not a terrible thing. But you also release cortisol when you're under stress constantly. And the difference between the two is that usually after sex, you're upbeat, you're happy, your mood is lifted, even with the cortisol release. It's because you were able to process the cortisol as it was being released in a positive way. Now, when you're stressed all the time and the cortisol gets released, your body, it almost like breaks it down because your body's like, oh my God, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Your psyche's not right, your head's not right, your body's not right, your process, it's bad for you. It's really, really bad. So people think of cortisol and they're like, oh, that's too bad. That's bad for you. No, cortisol is released all the time for different things. You ride a theme park roller coaster, cortisol is being released. Anytime you get like super, super excited and overly happy, cortisol gets released. It's what happens after the cortisol is released that really matters. Haha, I do too. The cortisol is good for you, but it's also, again, how we utilize. Like back in the day when you were being like you got scared, your body released cortisol, you were able to outrun the lion or outrun whatever it is that, you're on foot trying to outmaneuver. that you release the cortisol, and then your body processes the cortisol accordingly. And that gives you the giddy up and go, along with the adrenaline, really gives you the giddy up. But you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. The kidneys, that's my main focus today, is the kidneys. The kidneys in light. Interesting, light. I love light now. In my class, somebody emailed me and was like, I made a discussion post about, I wrote a topic about the growth mindset and a fixed mindset, how I think a growth mindset is wonderful to have. And I think people with a fixed mindset can't handle problems as well. And I said, but it's a false ideology to think that you can just go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset without changing your diet and your gut microbiome and giving your body what it needs to physically be happy and sustain what it needs to do. So I was like, I wrote all this stuff about food, and this person emailed me and was like, I think you'll find this talk and this book interesting, and this interesting, like wrote me a huge email about all this stuff I should look up and look into. And yeah, I'm very interested. And he's like, it's gonna sound super sciencey, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love nerding out. Let's go. Really? Does that cause you any problems? The kidney? Like, do you have any dietary issues or things that you've noticed that from having that? I'm not actually even sure what that is. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back because my sorry about that. To run to. So, do you have problems with any filtration issues or kidney failure? Do you know what, like, do you get a panel done with like your GFR and stuff, your filtration rate? Do you know what that is? My filtration rate is that's good. Yeah, I think, everybody's body's different. And I think even though we have little variations of things in our body, I really think that if we eat right and we do what we're supposed to do, exercise wise, you're fine. You're fine. Like, you have 8 cellular pathways, 5 of them, more than half of them, can be detoxed through exercise. But again, you can't outrun a bad diet because these 3 are detrimental. You can have toxins sitting in all your organs and all around your pocket fats, and you just can't outrun a bad diet. It's just what it is. You can't do it. And you go back. It's the cup, isn't it? Is it back with the cup? I think it's because I go back and it loses my face or something. My dad got me this cup for Christmas. Oh yeah, because that could be bad for your kidneys, huh? Direct push to your kidneys, huh? Yeah. Say, well, you can actually get knocked in your abdominis. It's not about getting punched, right? It's about like you go to pick something up and it hits your stomach, or you lift something wrong and you do something in yeah. I could see it being more than just like getting hit in your stomach, like fighting someone. You know what fighting is? And this is what I taught my daughter. Fighting is when people are not smart, because you should have the ability to communicate your what you need to communicate. And when communication breaks down, that's when people get physical, because they can no longer get their thoughts out, and there's a communication breakdown between party A or party B, because there is not a thing you should not be able to talk your way out of, or not a, there's no real reason for people to be fighting other than a primal instinct of, you get that mad that you go and you need to fight somebody. So yeah, trauma. Be careful with trauma. Hi, how are you today? We're having a whole conversation. I feel like I'm, I need to say hi. Well, I like that you're here, Jim, because it made my live very interesting. I was able to move through a bunch of stuff. I now get to I have a lot of homework. And I have a fight to pick with my teacher. They gave me a 2 out of 5 because they said I didn't turn in a picture of a graph. And I was like, it's right here. It's right next to my answer. How are you this blind? I've made that. Simulcasting. What is that? I need to look that up now. You mean simultaneously doing 2 things at once? Or simultaneously cast? I don't know what that means. See? I don't know everything. I do not know. And what I do not know, that's what I think, what makes a person stupid and what makes a person smart is not the knowledge that they have, because your knowledge can be outdated and flawed. Your reasoning can be flawed. We're all human, and research is done every single day, so knowledge changes. It's your ability to ask questions and say that you don't know something, because if you don't know something, that means you're going to learn it, and someone's going to help you with it. Yeah, I do. I got about 5 more minutes with the live, but I'm live Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, and then at night I try to do it at 5, but it's only 5:30, 6 o'clock till about 8 o'clock. I needed to the weekends, but this week is crazy, and I cannot broadcast Thursday because my daughter has her graduation, and I'm super excited. Yay! She's doing the graduation speech. She's doing she's playing the music as they, people walk across the stage. She's playing a song. She used to walk across first, then she plays for everybody else. And then she is she's doing a song. She's singing a song at the closing of the graduation. She's the only person that's doing every bit of the graduation. I said, are you an overachiever, or is this what you want to do? Or you just feel like you got to do this? She goes, no, Mom, I'm making my life memorable. I'm making these memories. And she goes, everybody's going to remember Kylie. I'm like, yes, Kylie, everybody will remember you. You were very memorable. I love her. I love her to death. She's so adorable. The other day, she was like, she came home and she goes, Mom, did you know you could eat your Crocs? And I was like, what? She goes, the shoe, the Crocs, the shoe, you can eat it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, yeah, in an emergency situation, I saw a video that you can eat your Crocs. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, you were so smart to be falling for this, Doodles. I was like, no. I said, no, please do not eat your Croc. I said, that would be a terrible thing to do. Even if you're hungry, please do not eat your Croc. It's not meant to be digested. I said, please don't do that. It was so cute, though. She was so excited and happy to come tell me that. Cannot eat it. Cannot eat it. But she had heard that exact thing, and she thought your body could break vegetables down so you could eat your shoe. It's like, no. Just like, everything, you can't do that. Can't. Kylie's funny. She around Halloween time, when everybody's getting their candy, she goes, Mom, she goes, I've noticed. She goes, that candy's poison. She goes, I see people at school and they're fine, and then they go to Halloween and they eat their candy all week. And she goes, they are the most miserable people, and they're the most miserable people to be around because all they do is complain and they're upset. And I'm like, yeah. said it sucks to be educated when you understand what's going on and why someone's acting the way that they are, and they did it to themselves, but they're too clueless to understand what they've done to themselves. So it's a oh no. Is that why animals get, like squirrels and stuff, will get under your hood and eat the car? That is too funny. The poor thing. They probably can't live like that because, like, that's bad. Aw. To be so hungry you're eating somebody's car parts. It's sad. I know we have a little squirrel, and I guarantee you he's not here anymore. The squirrel, he'd sit up and he'd just fall over. He'd sit up and he'd fall over. He was the cutest little thing, but he didn't have a tail. He looked like he'd been kind of around the tracks a little bit. Yeah, especially repairing the car. I have a light on in my car, and I don't even want to take it to the dealership. I'm so pissed off at the dealership. We don't even want to talk about Bruno. But then my car mechanic disappeared, so I can't take it to the person I normally take it to. I was taking it to the dealership. Then I knew I was getting ripped off at the dealership because I kept taking it for a thump, 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 thump noise, and it was coming from the back of the car, and they did everything. It turns out it was a locked drum, but someone referred to me a proper mechanic, and that's who figured that out, and then also found out they had a gigantic hole in my air intake, so my car was running like crap. I'd go to accelerate, and there was a big bog down. Basic things, and I had spent a lot of money for things like that to still be wrong. Got ripped off really bad, took me for a ride. So I found a mechanic, and then he's been a mechanic for a year and a half, and he disappeared. Literally disappeared. I called his shop. His girlfriend, or he's in a relationship. They're very toxic together. Very toxic. He's not happy, and it's sad to see. But anyways, another marriage, I guess. But she said that he was ill and would be taking about a month off. And I said, okay. Well, his shop phone got disconnected. His personal cell phone's been disconnected. Well, his personal cell phone got disconnected first, then his shop's been disconnected. And the person that referred me to him, I asked him, I said, you're personally friends with this guy. I said, what happened to him? He says, I don't know. He says, he's not at the hospital and he's not at his house, and I don't know where he is, and I don't know what's going on with him. He said, but his girlfriend's acting sketchy. And I'm like, oh. I said, I bet she's been murdered or something. We're going to figure it out. It's a 2007. So the dealership was ripping me off. That's the problem. That was the problem. The dealership's ripping me off. So I can't go to the dealership. This is Detroit. Unfortunately, the car city is also full of hooligans, and it's a Honda. It's a 2000 Honda Odyssey. Yeah, but I don't know who to take it to. Well, see, my problem is this right now. They put I had run flats on my car, so like if I got a hole in my tire, it would just fill up until I could get to the next place and replace my tire. However, they don't make the tires. It's the only year that they did run flats. So you can't even buy a tire for them. So I had to get the whole thing switched out, system on it, new monitor. The tire pressure monitoring is supposed to be guaranteed by Honda. This is what they install on their other vehicles. They put it on the other side of my gas tank. I've tried 3 different shops. They refuse to work on it because it's not where it should be on the diagram that Honda is giving them, and they can void a lot of stuff if they don't follow the letter or whatever, because they're certified Honda things, even though they're not the Honda, but they're certified to do work on the vehicles, if that makes sense. Camry's a really good car. That was my first car. Was the Toyota Camry, purple almost, like a reddish purple. It was very pretty. I love that car. It was a tank. But yeah, I love my car because it's only got 60,000 miles on it. It's from 2007. Very little radiation poisoning when you're sitting in it. It's not like the newer cars where you're a microwave. So I'm really, really hoping. See, this is the only problem I'm having with the Ding Dang car, is that the tire pressure monitoring system they installed is not where it should be installed, and I can't take it back to the dealership because they screwed up so bad in the first place. I can't get anybody to touch it. I gotta take it back. I know I do, but I'm not taking it back to the same Honda dealership. And I'm gonna talk to somebody and be like, y'all need to make this right, because I've had to replace 3 of the sensors so far. Now the entire system is offline, and then I go to get it repaired and it's not where it should be. It should be here, and it's not there. So someone's got to follow it through the electrical system to find this stupid thing and to figure out why it's offline. I'm guaranteeing to squirrel ate it. No, I'm kidding. That's where I'm at this point, because these people are that big of idiots that they, screwed up so bad. They screwed up so bad. Yeah, Toyota Camrys are supposed to go a long time. Toyotas are good. My dream car, and you laugh at me that this is my dream car, I want a Subaru. Fully loaded Subaru Impreza. That's what I want. I know it seems kind of basic, but that's exactly what I want. Basic or not, that's me. It is, the safety features on that car are beautiful. Beautiful. And my daughter's going to be driving soon, so I want her to have all the safety features under the sun. Especially in the snow and stuff. She's got to start driving as soon as she can, because I want her to start driving with me, so in case she loses control of the car or something happens, I can help her through it. That she's not, Yeah. I can't afford to right now. Not with my school bill, and not with me trying to save for a place. I can't. I want land. Maybe if YouTube takes off one of these days, that I'll be able to. This is what I really want to do. I'm going to school to learn all this crap and to educate people that this is what they're doing at the doctor. Doctors cannot cure you. No medication, no treatment they have will ever cure you. It's only going to satiate something, but no pill is gonna cure you. No treatment is there. You can't outrun a bad lifestyle and a little exercise. You just can't. I just want to help people, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna help people. Well, guys, yes, actually the Impreza. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. Is it the one that has the hatchback 4-door? It looks like a car, but it's got the hatchback. That's the one I want. I'm bad with names, so I might not be talking about the same car. I know it's a Subaru, and I know it's kind of looks like a station wagon type of thing. Kind of looks like a car with a hatchback on the back of it. I don't like the trunks. I like their That's true, I can. You're very right. Yeah. Yeah, and I know I'm going to have to eventually, because I get the 2007, and as long as it doesn't give me any problems, but I think Kylie, I definitely want her. She's like, oh, I want a Jeep. And I'm like, no. Yeah, the hatchback. That's it. Yeah. I like the Subaru Impreza. That is a beautiful car. I took that car as my rental car when I went to Tennessee. That car hugs the road and grips up those mountains. I had no problem. I was whipping around tiny little corners, and I had felt very safe and very comfortable the whole time. I like the way it handled and the way it like gripped the road. It was beautiful. And I went in a Honda Civic. I drove from Texas to Louisiana, and that one did too, but I like the safety features on the Subaru better that I drove. And like, I had the, cruise control where if someone went in front of you, it would slow the car down, whether you chose 3 car lengths, 4 car lengths, whatever, distance you wanted between you and the car in front of you. I didn't have to second guess. It would break if someone cut me off real fast. It was nice. It was really nice. And I'm like, that's the car. That's the car. That's the car I need. Well, hold on a second. I think I am getting ready to end my stream. I will be back on again tonight. And then, let's see. Slow growth. All I need is 500 followers to make this a thing. And that's the thing. I just want to help people. So I'm hoping I can. And it's the way I can do it and still be with my family without having to do a lot of stuff outside. That way. Yeah, it was nice chatting with you. I might see you later. But enjoy the rest of y'all day. Bye, guys.